Good evening. Tonight I'm going to be doing a fairly easy, at least I think it's fairly easy, Jägerschnitzel for dinner. So I'm going to start off by making the Jager sauce. It's German for Hunter sauce, and basically what it means is mushroom gravy. And I'm using a semi-cheaters method. I'm going to chop up and saute one small to medium-sized onion along with some canned mushrooms, and then I'm going to add a package of mushroom gravy mix to that and follow the directions of the mushroom gravy mix. And there we've got our Jager sauce. So let's take a quick look at what I've got here. Here's my fine onion. Just roughly chopped. I've got a can of mushrooms. I'm going to pour the water out of that, but I'm reserving the water. The mushroom gravy mix that I'm using, this one from McCormick, calls for 1 cup of cold water. Well, I'm going to add enough water to this to bring it up to a cup, but I'll get a little bit of extra mushroom flavor out of using that liquid. So the next thing to do is to just turn on the stove, put a little bit of olive oil into a pan, and start sauteing my onions. And those go on the stove now. I'll put the mushrooms on after the onions have gotten a little bit softer. Be back in just a minute. Our onions are starting to soften a little bit, so let's just add the mushrooms. And we'll give this a quick stir and let it continue to cook for just a few more minutes before we add the gravy mix and the water. Alright, the onions have softened up a bit, the mushrooms have had a little bit of sauteing. I'm going to pour in the liquid, and then I'm going to pour in and whisk or stir the gravy mix. Right now I've got the heat turned off. I'll put the burner back on after I get this in. So this is our gravy mix, and I'm going to turn the heat back on now to about medium. Just keep stirring it for a few minutes and let it begin to, as soon as it comes up to a simmer, I'm going to turn the heat very, very low, put a lid on it, and just leave it alone for another couple of minutes. That should take care of it. But this will be a nice thick mushroom and onion gravy. Alright, then you can see it has begun to boil. So we turn the heat off, take the whisk out, put the lid on, and we'll leave that sit while we work on the schnitzels themselves. One can't eat schnitzel without having some kind of a go with, I suppose in German one might say mit Gemüse, so we're having it with vegetables. I probably mispronounced my German. It's been 40 years since I was in Germany with the Army, and I'm sure I've forgotten more than half of what I learned. Anyways, what we're going to have is fresh pea pods, sugar peas sauteed in butter. So let's just see about preparing the pea pods. And basically what I do is I pull the ends off them. So if you look closely at a pea pod, it's got this stupid end on it that's the stem. We peel that off, and I like to just snip off the other end with my fingers, throw them into the bucket. I do it again, get that little tough string that's on the end of it. That's it. I'll fill up this colander with all the pea pods that I bought at Farmer's Market the other day, and we'll be all set to saute these in butter. In addition to the schnitzel and the peas, the sugar snap peas that I'm going to stir fry up, one of the people in our family is not on a low carb diet. Well, only one of us truly is, but one person really likes his carbs, and he's young and skinny enough to get away with it, so we're going to make some spätzle to go with the schnitzel. That sounds like a really German meal. Schnitzel mit Spätzle. So here we have some flour in a small bowl, and there is about a cup of milk. And what else is going in there?
Well, I put about a teaspoon of seasoned salt in there. The applewood smoked. I'm changing that up a little bit just to see how it goes. 1 egg and a half cup of milk.
Outstanding.
And this is my Grandma Wagner's recipe. Thank you for the editorial comment.
So that was the cat bumping into the tripod. So she's mixing up the batter for the spätzle, and once she's got most of the lumps out of it, she'll pour the whole thing into a Ziploc bag and snip off a corner and use that as if it were a pastry piping device to pour little bits of it into boiling water. And I'll show you that in just a minute.
This also makes good regular dumplings for soup. And you can spice it up by putting herbs and stuff in it too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's our sandwich bag full of spätzle mix, ready to be boiled, and we're just waiting for the water to get hot. Okay, so the first thing we're actually cooking is the spätzle. And we've taken a pot full of water and added a little bit of chicken bouillon to it, and the spätzle gets snipped off as they come out of the plastic bag and just go into the boiling water to get cooked.
They're usually ready when they float to the top, but sometimes they stick.
Okay, now it's time to start actually working on the schnitzels themselves, and let's take a look at the process for that and the ingredients. So I've got them kind of sitting on the counter. I'm going to aim the camera down and we'll take a quick look at that. So I've got a little bit of milk in this bowl. I think you can probably see that. And we'll break an egg into it. And that's going to be the milk and egg wash for first breading up our schnitzel. So we just mix that up a little bit. Set the fork down Here's what we're using upside right for meat. We've got pork cutlet mechanically tenderized. Basically what it means is a pork cutlet, which I tend to think of in terms of schnitzel. So we'll open those up. Take one of the pork cutlets, drizzle it, drench it in the milk and egg mixture, and then it goes into a mixture that is about half panko breadcrumbs and half regular breadcrumbs. Panko breadcrumbs, regular breadcrumbs. And I've got, the local grocery store still sells these in packs of 2, and since there's 3 of us for dinner, we'll make up 4 and it becomes lunch for one of us tomorrow. There's our breaded pork cutlet. And I'll do the next couple off camera and you'll see what's happening after that. Meanwhile, I'm just warming up the frying pan to begin working on the schnitzel. I've got a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of the pan, just like so, for cooking the schnitzels themselves, or the pork cutlets, depending on if you want to say it in English or in German.
Or if you want to go in Japanese, they're tonkatsu.
So this really is a family adventure at cooking, because we've got the lovely and gracious Judy working on the Spätzle, and James is doing the video work, and I'm going to do the schnitzel and the pea pods in just a second. This almost looks warm enough. So first 2 schnitzels are going in. Our frying pan isn't big enough to do all 4 at once. So there we go, where the schnitzels are in the frying pan, and they'll take a few minutes to cook. Okay, the first 2 schnitzels appear to be done. Take them out and set them on a plate. Add a little bit more olive oil. And we'll put the next 2 schnitzels in the pan. Meanwhile, we'll also turn on the pan for the butter, with the butter for the peas. And we're just quickly sauteing those in hot butter. We'll put a little bit of salt, probably smoked salt onto these, and call them done. So we'll let those go just for a minute or so whilst this schnitzel cooks. Spätzle are almost done. We should be ready to eat in about 2 or 3 minutes. Okay, so I've got I don't eat very many spätzles. I'm trying to be low carb, and I'm going to have just a couple. And so what I've done is put just a little bit of butter into the frying pan after the schnitzels were done, and I'm quickly frying the spätzles in a little bit of butter. And I'll eat just those couple. So I've got the peas, a couple of spätzles, and the schnitzel, and I'm going to add the Jager sauce, or mushroom and onion gravy. Set that down. And let's take a taste. Perfect. The sauteed peas, very good. They need just a little bit of salt, but that can be added. I think Spätzle does taste much better after you've sauteed it in butter. And finally, I'm having a salad tonight, which is a recipe that I got from another YouTuber. I think her name is Gail McLeod. I probably mispronounced it. She does a lot of low-carb recipes, and this is her tomato and avocado and cabbage or something like that. Basically little mozzarella balls salad with balsamic vinegar. So, I'll put a link to this below, and you'll see it right down there. That's very good too. So there you go. That's our idea of a German meal for tonight. If you like my videos, if you like my cooking and my weaving, I'd very much appreciate if you would subscribe to my channel and make some comments. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.